Says, my gosh, I don't want to defile any meaning in here by giving my take on it, except that, anyway, he says, oh, Diane, he wouldn't have asked you if he didn't trust you.
Yeah.
And I went, oh, okay, I get it.
There it is. Cool, that's cool.
That's the kind of stuff that happens to me all the time. It really does.
I feel like is this just recording right now?
Oh, no.
No, we're good.
It was a good conversation.
Yeah. This is all, we can just.
Anyway, that was just the experience I had
this.
to verify that I was supposed to do this with you.
Trust.
That and the fact that I think you're amazing. I get such
amazing.
a great energy from you, Tyrone. I do.
Thank you.
So anyway, there's
Trust,
why I'm
man.
here.
Trust.
Might adjust just the blade.
So, here we are.
Here we are. Thank you so much.
Oh my gosh.
So Diane Cook, and would you like to talk about where you grew up or family life or
Sure.
any of that?
Would you like that? Yeah, because it has a lot to do. I mean, it was no coincidence that the Course in Miracles came into my life.
These are the questions. I was just going to kind of ask you, I was going to make an introduction about...
Oh, yes.
About, this is the Lit on Live podcast, and what it's about. And I don't even know how to even put what Lit on Life is about into, words, I really, don't.
Okay.
It's just a clothing brand that started, and it's kind of anyways, I'll explain that.
Okay.
Went to...
Yep. I was born and raised in the LDS Church. My mother was very active. My father was a raging alcoholic. And we had nothing. I mean, he just drank everything we ever had away. I lived in a tiny little house, and my angel mother raised 6 sons through the Depression. She had me when she was 45. And so she raised 6 sons and me, literally by herself. And I remember looking out the window of our little house, and I'm going, God is going to get me out of this, and he's going to put me with somebody that will love me the way my mother should have been loved. And you know something, Tyrone, I really resented my father for a long time because other people had dads, and I just had somebody that I was afraid would walk in the house when my friends were there. So it was really tough. And so I went into life with poor me, poor Diane. But all through my life, I have had signals that I'm being guided. And of course, when I met my husband, we've been married 57 years now, and we dated 3 years before that. So I always say he raised me and then married me. And he's just so wonderful. But we have had some really tough issues in our life. He's just been through so much, and he is such a warrior. He really is. And I mean, the last 15 years has just been so hard for him and me. And had the Course in Miracles not been there for me, and he's never read the book, never read any of it. He just hears me talking about it all. And
what does he think?
The thing that started it, now, in family life, I had 3 daughters. The last daughter was Down syndrome, and which was pretty unusual for being 28 years old. That's not a usual time when women have special needs kids. And she was so sick. Oh my gosh, we thought we were going to lose her numerous times. And I kept asking God, I said, why would you give her to me and then take her away? And I was just bound determined that she was going to live. But it was going to be, boy, we're going to do, I'm just going to raise her. And there was no gentleness there. And the Course in Miracles came into my life when she was 3 years old. She's 48 now. And it completely changed the way I raised her. And it has completely given me perspective on everything that my husband and I have gone through in these last 15 years. I don't know where I would be without A Course in Miracles. Bitter, maybe. Sad, for sure.
Living in fear.
Huh?
Living in fear.
Yeah. Oh, living in fear and worrying about future and even now. I mean, I have around my neck his wedding ring because one of the things he went through is that he had cancer. We know why. He dealt with chemicals, one of which was Agent Orange, And
What
so
is
it
Agent Orange?
really messed up his body.
What is that?
Agent Orange is what they used in the Vietnam War that's caused so many problems for so many people. Now, Jim was not in Vietnam, he was in the Forest Service. But the Forest Service was sent all Agent Orange to use to defoliate trees and things where they weren't. And so we're pretty sure that that's where the whole thing came from. Maybe even Janine, because it could have caused chromosomal damage. But so what he's been through is a 10-year bout with cancer where he lost his left arm. And then 3.5 years ago, he had a deep brain aneurysm, which took out the other side of his body. So here's this man, beautiful man, 6'3", gorgeous, been a forest ranger all his life, and so active. And here he is, But bless him, what a warrior he is. So, but I would have been very bitter if I had not learned that whatever is what I have got to love. Not resent, not hate, not feel guilty about, none of that. Just love.
It's so easy to like become a victim, and
Yeah.
feel like we're a victim.
And it's not that I haven't been there.
That life should be a certain way,
Yeah.
and that this, and it's not. I work on these things. I work on not being a victim. I work on, what A Course in Miracles teaches.
Exactly.
But
Well,
I still fall into it.
Well, of course, I do too, and I've been in this study for 44 years. This is a journey. This is not and it's not a religion. That's the best thing about A Course in Miracles. It meets you right where you're at. What I have over 44 years in many, many groups. This is the only group I've ever led, is the one that we're in now. The rest I've all been students of. And with all my teachers and everything that there's nobody that isn't affected by this. It's just so kind. It's Christian. It has Christian leanings. But one of my very favorite friends that I had for years and years before we moved to St. George was a lifelong Buddhist. And she just loves the Course in Miracles. So
When the truth comes in many forms,
Of
right? And that's
course.
something.
yeah, of course. And that's what the Course says. That there's, that the truth comes in from many places. But that as soon as you start following the idea that you're being led, you will find something or someone or some study that will bring you to this. Everybody's going to come to this, Tyrone. It just happens to be that some of us come through A Course in Miracles.
Well, how we stumbled upon it was Ryan had been dabbling in it. And you were there when we showed up to the.
I loved it.
What are they group lessons? Is that what? Like if I show up to the USARA.
Yes.
And go to what is that called?
Well, I don't know. It's just called a Course in Miracles study.
Okay.
Because there's no teaching. Cynthia and I don't even pretend to be teachers. We just read and then discuss. That's all we do. But we open and welcome to questions because, my goodness, here I've been in it 44 years and you've been in it a few weeks. You have to meet people where they're at. But the Course in Miracles does that. It's just amazing. And usually, and I don't know if this is specific to what happened with you, Tyrone, but most people hear something, one thing, one phrase, one something that just resonates with them. And that's all the Course says. You don't even have to believe or understand this. You just have to be willing to listen. And let the Holy Spirit do the rest for you.
I don't even know if I heard anything at that first one. It was just the acceptance you guys had for us,
Oh, gosh.
I was like, oh my God, they're going to judge. They are going to judge us. And we have face tattoos and like this group is big and young and, and it was the complete, I was judging you guys. And then you guys were like, yes, come in, and it was just that I got more of a feeling there and I seen a look in people's eyes, like the look in your eyes, the look in Cindy's eyes, and just other people's eyes that, you guys is just a look of love, and I was like, I want that in my life,
I'm so glad. I'm so glad that happened for you. I'm really glad. One of the basic Course in Miracles principles that has just been an absolute mainstay for me is that there's no experience you'll ever have that isn't one of two things. It's either love or a call for love. There just isn't anything else that you can put into that experience. So I don't know whether it was the anticipation that you were going to learn something there, or whether it was our desire to make you feel welcome. I don't know what it was, but in that room was love or a call for love. Nothing else. There wasn't any use for guilt or anger, or because the main principle of A Course in Miracles is forgiveness. And you know where it starts? Forgiving yourself.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping that's what your group got, was that go easy on yourself, because you cannot separate yourself from God. There is no way.
I have also been reading The Way of Mastery.
Oh, I love The Way of Mastery.
And that's basically what it's been saying. Like every attempt we've ever made, and mine was through drugs, through women, through, just a certain lifestyle, was an attempt to separate from the source, from God, whatever you want to call it. It was an attempt to separate from that, and it never works. And that's kind of one of the things I want to talk to you about too, is like, it's almost a scary thing when you wake up and you realize that all this stuff, shit, whatever, has never made me happy. Like a car or your status in life, or the amount of money you have. It's nice to have the things you need, and like to be.
We call that the happy dream in A Course in Miracles. And if you want an explanation of that, I'd be glad to give it to you.
Yeah, I just kind of want to know when, because for me, the transition has been like beautiful and also like terrifying. Because all these things that meant so much to me do no longer mean. And I'm like, what now? Like, what now? Last night I was at home feeling like I needed to be out doing something on a Saturday night, and like feeling like all this. And I was just like, no, you don't, man. You're good. You can sit here and read this book. You don't need to do anything or go have anybody entertain you or do, it's okay to sit with yourself. And that's one of the coolest things I've learned about it. But was it scary for you to go through that process? Is what I'm asking.
Well, it was so comforting, Tyrone, that I chose to be there as often as I could, even though there was so many difficult things going on in our life at the time. But what you're experiencing is the best part of what I love about the people in the group, is that when you decide to let Holy Spirit be the main focus in your life, then something inside you says, no, I don't need to party to be happy. It doesn't say that going to a party is wrong. See, this is where you stop guilting on yourself, is where, now, when you go, if you're being harmful or dangerous or something, that's on you. But it doesn't make any difference to the real you, which is in there wanting to be the main focus in your life. And that's the shift that's happening with you, in my estimation, Tyrone, is that you're beginning to see that a life of being in touch with it. And I want you to know that the Way of Mastery, I take that one too. I haven't been to classes for a couple of years since Jim got hurt, but fabulous. It's just fabulous, because it's like sitting down with the kindest, most wonderful person you've ever known and having a conversation on how to live your life. It's just so comforting, so warm, so kind. Because, see, there's a place in you that has high wisdom that never goes away. There's a place in you that has total peace that never goes away. There's a place in you who knows how powerful you are when you get in touch with this, that never goes away. So all this stuff that's out there is fine. It's nice to have a nice car. I have a beautiful home and a beautiful car. That they're just part of what we call a happy dream, which lets us be free, because I'm not hungry and I've got plenty of belongings that make me happy, if you want to call it happy, but they're not the focus of my being. And that's what you're coming to, and isn't it beautiful?
It
that
is.
You're coming to it on your own, and then here comes A Course in Miracles, where you can walk in a room where people are experiencing that in their life. Yeah, that's what you saw.
When we went last Monday, there's two people in there that their minds were like they were just like, what? You're so excited. One was like, I read ahead. I'm ready to tell you guys what's next.
I loved
You know?
it. I loved it. Yeah, he was the one I was sitting right next to, right?
Yes.
And he was delightful. I got an energy from him because he could hardly sit still. He was being so moved.
I've never seen him like that.
Yeah, oh, really?
Yeah, no, never.
He was so moved by what he was experiencing, and what a joy. Okay, so what was that? That was love and a call for love.
And then
right in the same body.
We can walk out of there though, and you never forget, but you get distracted again.
Of course.
And that seems like it was just a little fluke, little thing, a feeling that came, or like,
okay.
You know, well, for me, you know, it's easy to get distracted, and I oftentimes have these thoughts of like, you're crazy, man, for you know, like for going into all this stuff. Like, it's not like I'll have this. I believe it's the ego, right, that comes in and says, this is a bunch of bullshit. You know, what you're doing is like you're putting your faith in something like wild, you know, and
the jig is up if you get this. Do you realize that the ego will not have near the power it has over you? Sorry. What was that?
Powerful, I guess. The whole thing broke.
Oh, I love it. That was just fun. And nothing doesn't happen for a reason.
Yeah.
And I'm here to tell you. that was hysterical. What were we just talking about? The ego's
jig is up, dude.
If you get this.
The jig is up.
And the phone flies off.
It's like, wait, no.
No.
Stop talking.
Yeah, because this is powerful stuff. It is so big. Can I tell you my experience with Janine back when I very first got in A Course in Miracles?
Please.
Okay. I was so full of guilt. How could a mother give birth to a handicapped child? And what was God? Was God punishing me? That was the kind of stuff I was going through. And let me tell you what, when A Course in Miracles started sinking into my soul, I am so grateful for her. She is such a great person. And my other two daughters are better women because of her too. And it transforms the thing that makes you the most miserable. It's the most amazing thing. It's like I get to choose. Now, because when I first went into A Course in Miracles, what do you think the miracle was that I wanted? I wanted her healed. Yeah. I wanted that chromosome in her body to go away. That's why I got into A Course in Miracles. Do you know what the Course in Miracles is?
It's a change of perception.
It's all it is.
That's it. That's what I was going to say.
The little willingness to see things differently.
But you can't understand that until you see it differently. You know, until you can somehow have something help you see things differently. Right. And that is what, honestly, this has done for me. You know, and it's not. I'm not always perfect about it. I'm not always, you know, but my mind it's working different. I'm on lesson 29 today. God is in everything I see.
God's
you know,
in everything I see.
And I'm seeing people that can get on my nerves, and I'm looking at them and saying, God is in
now
everything
you know
I
who
see.
to bless. Now you know who to bless.
Yeah.
That's all. Which is yourself. For someone that's driving you crazy for your perception being that. When you know you could make the choice to be a little willing to see it differently. Because if there's ever the field that you're in, that you're going to come across this more than anybody, is hurt people hurt people.
Yeah. This
is what I came to with my dad. Do you know, I just wish that I had come to it when he was still alive. Because my dad, he went through things in his life. I don't know how he was still standing. And he still tried to provide. He still tried to be. I love him absolutely without prejudice of any kind now.
We are not victims of the world, you know? Like, we're not victims of the world.
And and I think he knows that I love him. Even though he's been gone for decades.
Even though your husband doesn't do this, I just want you to know, I know he has felt.
Oh, yeah.
You know.
Yeah. He likes the fact that I can recover quickly because he calls me tear ducts on feet. I am the most emotional empathetic. I feel everything and everybody. I would be in so much sadness all the time with what's going on in this world if I didn't know that anybody can find that in themselves. And sometimes it's the really hard stuff that brings them to it. And so are those things bad, or are they part of what we're here for?
Everything's happening for us and not to us.
Exactly. That's Cynthia's.
That was one of the first perception changes I've seen after tons of death. My dad, grandma, grandpa, tons of friends overdosing, you know, and I just remember being at my friend's funeral who died from COVID. And I was just like, this is a blessing, man. You know, like everything that's happening right now and it was so weird that my mind would even think that, you know, and I wasn't in a place of like grief at the moment. You know, I was and I felt odd for feeling like that.
This is patting you on the back.
Oh, we're gonna pat on the back.
Because that's you getting it. Don't you see, Tyrone? That's it. That's the willingness to see things differently.
That's the miracle.
That's the miracle.
Correct?
Yeah.
So I want to ask you, how many times have you done the lessons?
Oh my goodness.
There's 365 lessons. I'm on 29 right now with my cousin Jordan, same time. Oh,
that's good. I'm glad you're doing that. I have done it in numerous ways over the years. I went through every lesson on time, every day last year. This year, I'm letting guidance. I have the book in my hand. I'm letting guidance. Let's see what it is I'm supposed to learn today. All gifts my brothers give belong to me, is what I was supposed to see today. So I've done it that way. Just open. Or I've even done it with the text. Is just open up, and here's I am at home in God. So then I'll maybe read a paragraph or two. I've read there are so many authors that have used A Course in Miracles.
It's in everything.
It's in everything.
It's in everything. I never noticed it before, but now I see ACIM in everything.
Yeah, and they're not afraid to quote it because once it gets into your... So I have read Wayne Dyer. I'm currently listening to Robert Holden, Marianne Williamson. I've read all the books that are connected with people who have studied and lived the Course in Miracles. And that helps me. Alan Cohen is one of my favorite. Course in Miracles Made Easy.
I remember I was at my cousin's, living at my cousin's house, and I was sitting in the room, going through just a hellacious time. And I'd be reading, and I'd be like, "Oh my God!" Like yelling, and they'd come in and be like, "What is your deal?" And I'd be like, "This book, dude, this book," you know. And they're like, "What?" But
I rest my case.
Amazing.
Yeah, and it's easier to understand the Course, and they're much easier than in here. Yeah.
I've bought this book now 21 times, and I still do not own one because I give it to everybody.
You keep giving it away.
I buy it for everybody.
See?
Some people love it. Some people are like, that's weird, you know. And
so what you do, what I'm hearing you say, pat yourself on the back again.
Okay.
You heard a call for love, and you gave them love.
And I've learned to release the expectation of what they're going to...
Oh, you don't... No, that's not...
Not everybody's going to get what I got.
Course in Miracles principle. And I'd use this with my husband and his illnesses and his things all the time. My job is not to fix him. My job is to love him. And that is... So you do an act of love, you bless them, and you release it. This is how you let go of some of the stuff, because you, on the way in, you mentioned something about guilt. Guilt doesn't last very long with me because I forgive it and let it go. And the more you do that, the faster it goes away. Then all of a sudden it becomes, why am I feeling guilty? That isn't what that's not what this is coming into my experience for. It's coming to me. What am I supposed to do with it? So there's the reframing, the re-looking at it from a different perspective, the little willingness to see it differently. And then Holy Spirit takes over and you get to be guided. That's how it works.
I have, like, so many things have happened, like just meeting people, talking to people at random places, you know, and I can tell when I'm not like aligned, you know, and I'm getting off track. And usually what has helped me, I've noticed, is reading books like this. As I'm reading them, I'm more aligned.
There you
know,
go.
and then I get off
Of course.
track and I don't read and I
Yeah.
don't really do much, and then I'm like, my thoughts take over.
You're being human, my goodness.
Yeah. That's another, try to be perfect. I've yet to do it.
No.
But
No.
another thing we do here that Ryan has taught us is just I love myself. Repeat, I love myself in my mind, you know. And it,
Look
catch a lot
yourself
of-
in the eye. Do it in the mirror. It's hard to do, especially when you become vintage like me. I look in the mirror and I go, mirror, mirror on the wall, I am my mother after all. White hair. Wrinkles. It's,
You're perfect.
oh, I am perfect. And I go there. But there's, you know, you look at your humanness when you're looking at yourself in the eyes. And when you can do that and truly in your heart say, I love you, then everybody you're going to meet is going to get that. Tyrone, you just don't know how amazing you are. You cannot miss that I was just taken by you from the very first moment I laid eyes. I mean, I knew who you are immediately. It didn't take me 3 seconds to see you for who you really are. Now, other people are going to get that too. You know that.
Yes.
Because you have chosen a life of service.
Thank you. And I feel that from you too, you know. And
yeah.
Still to this day, you know, compliments, and that is like a genuine compliment. I can feel it.
I mean it.
You know, and that is real, and I'm like, you know,
No.
but thank you. No, I'm learning to, you know, to.
Well, because you haven't
accept these
forgiven
things.
yourself yet. There's a part of you that still thinks you're in some kind of a in-between. You're either listening to ego or you're listening to Holy Spirit. There's no. And God is speaking to you all the time. Are you listening? Is the only question.
It's a.
Yeah.
The ego's getting chipped at, you know, it's getting chipped away, and there's a lot of good things that are happening, like in my mind and my body, and just, you know, I feel love, like, you know, a lot of everywhere I go, and
you know, 90% of it is recognizing when you're in the ego. The more that you're in that,
I love myself.
Perfect.
You know,
when you're in the ego, then you're questioning what's happening, or you're saying, "Oh man, I'm going back to the old ways." See, that's judgment of yourself, which is where judgment always begins. Every time I judge someone else, I'm only judging. I can't see faults in other people unless I see it in myself. And it's and when it comes to love, which is such a because there's so much guilt around love and fear and all of that. And I heard in what was it? Just recently, they said, you cannot give what you do not have. So if you're choosing to give love, then your tendency of your spirit is to get you to forgive yourself so that you can give it away. It's not going to just focus on giving 21 books to people. It's saying, I love myself now. I can let go of a book that I love to give it to somebody else because I know how to create it in myself again. You're not diminishing yourself. So many people in the ego feel like if they're giving away or if they're doing good, then there's an accounting. I do this for you, but you're not giving it back. You have
expectations.
Expectation. That all goes away.
You're losing. You know, it's. I have a hard time even putting what I'm learning into words. You know what I mean? So that is why I wanted to ask you to come here, because you have done a very good job, and I appreciate you very much.
Oh my gosh. Well, I was really honored that you'd asked me, because I get really full of this stuff and I don't know if I'm explaining it well. So the fact that I'm relating to you in class and here what I really feel about.
You were on fire. Like you were.
I really was. Well, I looked at the people in that room and I knew how ready they were. And if just one thing could be said, just one, I really believe that if one thing is taken in, that's their entry into the change in their life. that they will make. It has nothing to do with me, nothing at all. Because when they let it in, it'll come from everywhere. It will just come from everywhere.
Once you become aware of these things,
Yeah.
you start to see them more.
Of course.
You know, and then
Yeah.
it builds a momentum.
And when you don't see it, when you don't see it in someone, you know who to bless. See, this is the power of this thing. I don't have to try to change what they're doing, but I can touch them. I can bless them. That's what I can do. But my job is not to fix them. My job is to love them.
That's been a lesson for me to learn as well, doing
Yeah.
this kind of work, and
Mhm.
being involved in recovery, and seeing people make mistakes and doing,
Yeah.
and I just,
Well, the Course says,
I love you, like
Yeah.
I love you guys, I love
Yeah.
you,
Oh,
and I
say
hope
it.
you make it back,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
sometimes love is not always the kindest. Sometimes you have to tell somebody they don't want to hear,
Exactly.
and that's
love
where
too.
that was a big thing for me,
Yeah.
because I let people walk all over me.
Oh,
I let
yeah.
people, I want everybody to love me and to like me.
No.
And sometimes that is not, you can't,
Well,
not everybody's going to be happy with you loving yourself, and setting boundaries and
yeah,
respecting
the problem
yourself.
even my husband has with the Course is that he says, "Oh, so people can just go out and, do all this stuff, and then it's just okay with everybody." And I says, "Oh, not at all. When you are living in the ego's world, there's real consequences, and you may have to suffer those consequences, but it has nothing to do with what's really inside you. And that is your way out of whatever situation you've set yourself up in, if you choose to follow it. Because, Tyrone, all you have to do is ask. See, what people don't think, they think they have to earn or be worthy of this stuff. No, you ask, and it's always answered. Do you hear it? Are you willing to forgive yourself enough to open up to what this is? And that's why the way of mastery has been so good, because it, in more plain English, just right down, is just, this is what you do. The knowledge of the heart. It's all broken down into how did you do this? How is it done? You ask and you receive.
That's it.
That's it.
You see why I asked her to do this?
Oh my God.
Is pure gold, Diane,
Oh.
and I am very grateful you did
Oh,
this.
thank you.
Jordan, thank you for your help.
Where can somebody go to Course in Miracles? Like where and when?
In St. George, Utah, I'm going to document the Foundation for Inner Peace. That is the people who write this book. My favorite. There are some that are not put out by the Foundation for Inner Peace, but these are the best books, I think, the way they're set up and everything. And they have a list of the Course in Miracles classes all over the world. This is not a small thing. Do you know when this first came out in the 70s, it was 3 separate books. This is my 3rd book I'm on. And people were that wasn't even in a book form. They were mimeographing 3,200 pages and passing it around because people were so engaged in this thing. And finally, the Foundation for Inner Peace printed it and put it out. Millions of people are reading this and getting this. It's a big movement, and I'm so glad. But you can also go on the internet and just go Course in Miracles, and just ask give your zip code or where you are. Now, I've never done this, but I've heard people who have just found us, like when they moved to St. George area. But our St. George area, we just meet at the USARA building at 5:30 on Monday nights for 1 hour. And you don't have to have a book, and you don't have to have studied it. You just walk in like Tyrone and his group, and I promise we'll hopefully make you feel welcome. And in the summer, we go back out to the park. We have it in the park, and that's really fun when we can just kind of be out in the sunshine or in the shade is where we're usually looking for it. But when the time changes, then USARA has been kind enough.
USARA is great.
To let us use that thing. We just give a small contribution so that they can keep the lights on. But yeah, so that's how you find A Course in Miracles.
Plus, just send it up to the Holy Spirit and He'll guide you.
Yeah.
There's somebody in every community that knows where one is, I promise. They're all over the world, and they're all over the internet. Alan
There's
Cohen.
Zoom meetings as well, right?
Huh?
There's Zoom meetings
Oh,
for
yes.
Course in Miracles as
Yes.
well.
Yes, lots of them. And Cynthia, the other one that is the facilitator with me, has been taking it to the prison. And once COVID is gone, she'll be back there taking this and other courses to our purgatory, which is
Yeah.
our jail. And
That's
that
where
is,
I met her.
oh, that's right. You told me
It
that.
wasn't during a course. She was teaching some other class.
Yeah.
I showed up to get a notebook.
Oh, yeah, because
so that I could take back to my
you
section.
Take it, yeah.
And I'd seen her, and I was just like, she is.
Wow.
I kept, because you're in stripes and you don't feel very good about yourself, and people come and they the inmates kind of go to mess around, but she was just like, she was different and special,
stunning.
And I was like, she really cares about us,
Oh,
man.
she does.
And she had a good relationship with my dad as well. My dad loved her as well.
Oh, that's wonderful.
He met her in jail too.
Yeah, she teaches the Untethered Soul, Michael Singer, wonderful. She teaches the Tao Te Ching, which is another fabulous, fabulous study. And
There's many names, many faces, many pathways to the truth.
Many.
And the truth is the truth.
Yeah.
Nothing real can be threatened. Nothing unreal exists.
Unreal exists.
Therein lies a
There's
piece of God.
You've memorized the course thing. That's beautiful.
That's all you need to know right there.
And the other one on 28, my favorite thing, and I always try to introduce this to people who are just starting in the course, is I am here only to be truly helpful. You heard that one?
Mm-mm.
Oh, really? Page 28 in the text. I am here only to be truly helpful. I am here to represent Him who sent me. I do not have to worry about what to say or what to do, because He who sent me will direct me. I am content to be wherever He wishes, knowing that He goes there with me. And I will be healed as I let Him teach me to heal. That's the Course in Miracles in a nutshell.
Love it.
Yeah.
Well, Diane, thank you very much.
Thank you.
This has been amazing. I just want to say, it takes courage. I think my boss, Ryan, has courage because he brought this book into group. This one,
bless him.
And he teaches some other stuff like this breathing that we do. And it's not like, it's what he believes in, and it's helping a lot of people. And I'm just grateful that people have been brave enough to get into this, so I could go and be a part of it.
Well, you are a blessing to our group. I'm telling you, all your people. I thought you were stunning. There's a lot of different type people that I don't get to be around a lot, and I love that.
Yeah, you were.
I love that. When you walked in, I went, good. Right on. Well, come on in.
Yeah, you feel very welcome when you go there, and
good.
I hope.
Good.
I hope some people go to this when they do this.
Too. I do too.
Yeah.
And I don't know when you're going to do some more podcasts, Tyrone, but when we start out in the park, we'll let people know, because that is really fun. We have gotten some big groups out in the park. They like being out there, and you kind of have to. I mean, they just either bring a blanket or a lawn chair, and
that's the first one we went to.
That's the first we walked over, and
30 people.
Yeah, 30 people. I went, whoa! And one of our students, she just come unglued with you guys, didn't she? She came over and started hugging people.
Yeah. Sharon, yes. She just held me the whole time.
Yeah, she did.
She just held me and held the book, and I was like,
"There's something.
This is it.
There's something about you guys. Do you recognize that? Do you get it that we know you're really working towards being in love instead of anger and fear and hate, and we can feel it. That's what we're here to do.
Show the truth.
Yeah. And you don't have to always be. I mean, there's going to be some tough times that people are going to need to talk about what's real in their life, and they shouldn't try to hide that anymore. It needs to be wherever they're at, That's where the Course meets.
That's where we love them. You know?
Yeah, and that's where the Course meets them. It will.
It's teaching me to love myself
Yeah.
wherever I'm at as well.
I have always said, you asked me once about how many times I've been through. I always said that probably for the first 5 or 6 times I studied, it was in black and white. I was trying to understand it psychologically and intellectually. Then it started being in color for me. And now it's just light. I mean, I open a page and I have actually had the experience of having something come off that page that was lit. It just, there it was. And so I started out with A Course in Miracles in black and white, which everybody does. And pretty soon it was in color.
Like you felt it in your heart is what
Oh,
you're saying,
absolutely.
right?
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I for sure want to intellectualize it. I do, but what I do is I go up here and I do this breathing thing that we do here at work,
Is it the
and it
hobble?
shuts my mind off. And I like today, God, or I can't even think of it right now. God is in everything I see.
Oh,
God is in this, and my mind is just
Yes.
like blank, and I just feel it here instead.
oh, yeah.
And so it helps me to bring me to from here to here.
Well, you know the heart has brain cells.
Yeah.
You know that. I mean, you can learn from your heart. And that's where most of this is going to hit. How many times did you, next time you're around us, you notice that a course student will go like this. They'll put their hand to their heart. That's because that's where they're speaking from. Or that's what they're trying to open, is their heart.
Yeah, this is a bunch of nonsense.
That's ego. And it talks all the time. And one of the things that Cynthia likes to tell people a lot, and I think it's because she's taught so many different pieces, like at the penitentiary and places, and that is that the ego speaks loudest and first, and it's vindictive and vengeful. So if you're not in a thought of peace, love, and joy, you're in the ego. It's pretty easy to spot. Because you're going to be disrupted, you're going to be anxious, you're going to be fearful. And I brought this in because so many people will come into your life that you can't believe. One of our students, and I haven't seen Carolyn for a long time, drew this. And when Jim got hurt, she gave me the original. It's a picture of a very bent over and almost angry because of the color. Can you see the color?
Yeah.
Tyrone? Bent over, and then this light of Jesus by him with his hand on him. And the Course, the thing from the Course says, if you knew who walked beside you, fear would be impossible. And she gave me the original oil painting when Jim got hurt. This is the kind of stuff that comes into your life when you start doing this, Tyrone. Rocks. I can't believe you take that. Phones fly off there.
That was good.
That was just great. It wouldn't have been as powerful except that we were talking about the ego.
Yeah. that was true. So
man.
This has been the Lit on Life podcast with Diane Cook.
Thank you so much,
Thank
Tyrone
you so
and Jordan.
much.
Thank you.
Going over A Course in Miracles, and
Yeah.
I just want to finish with the world is kind of crazy right now. The world is hard. There's a lot going on. There's viruses. There's news that's insane, and and this has helped me tremendously to just come from a place of love, and all that fear that is being directed my way. It's an illusion, man, and it's very powerful. And I'm very blessed to know you ladies, men, that are all part of that. And thank you for doing this.
Oh, you're welcome. And what I want to say to what you just said is, when I feel that way, which I do, how can you not? I say to myself or anyone else that's near me, love always wins. If we're going to get through this, Tyrone, it's going to be because we learn how to love each other. Right?
Yep, I love you.
I love you too, sweetheart.
Thank you very much.
I got a friend for life, haven't I?
Yeah, absolutely. Yes. Yes, you do. We're doing this journey together.
Yes, we are.
All right.
Thank you.